You know, the going back and forth between these two schools is bad enough as it is. But this year it was elevated because one school, you know, was undefeated, but the other school was saying, yeah, but you're a bunch of cheaters. And so the normal back and forth had gotten a little more vicious. And to the point that I was told by some of my friends who are Alabama fans who, you know, are in that group of people that have some sense. And they said, you know, I don't know that I would, if you're taking your kids, you're going to be at that stadium. I don't know that I would dress my kids or y'all dress in Auburn colors. I would go neutral colors. And I thought, well, that seems kind of over the top. I mean, surely people, you know, there's enough people. There's more people that have sense than don't have sense, I would think. And then the family finally got to this point. First of all, my wife says that she was wearing the team colors. There was no talking her out of it. And
a rabid fan,
right? And yeah, the most rabid Auburn fan this year. And then the boys wanted to wear their stuff, you know, supporting their brother. And so then we made this decision: if our family can go to the Palestinian-controlled West Bank and walk the streets of Bethlehem as white Americans, by golly, we can wear Auburn colors at Tuscaloosa. You know what I mean?
But you know what? That's a good comparison.
Yeah, I thought to myself, surely it can't be like the West Bank. Of course, at times I wondered, but so anyway, it was funny to go through that whole thing because I had the boys so prepared. I said, look, we're going to be classy. You know, of course, I should have talked to their mom, but I said, we're going to be classy. I don't want you yang with anybody. If people say something, don't engage them. Let's just
keep walking.
Let's just keep walking. And so we didn't have much of that, thankfully, on the way in. My only, because it took so long, the traffic for this game, because it was magnified. First of all, it's 101,000 people.
That's a lot of folks going to anything.
Going to anything. Then it's magnified because the students who would normally already be there, majority of those had gone home for Thanksgiving, and now they're coming back. So that adds to the traffic. Then you take in the whole factor of most people didn't get to the game as early as they usually do because of Thanksgiving.
Or Black Friday shopping.
or whatever. They had all left later.
You had that crowd.
So it took us from our home to that stadium should be about 50 minutes. And it took us 3 hours and some change to
that's when you needed me to set your time up.
Yeah,
I'd have been there early.
Right. Well, I mean, in this
you'd have had breakfast at the stadium.
Yeah, in this case, you were probably going to sit in traffic no matter what. I mean, people who left, they were in the same situation. Yeah. So because it was just horrible.
That's Absolutely. Where you parachute in.
Of course, I'd pulled the parking pass, but you still got to get to the parking lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So anyway, so we're on the way to the stadium. So now we're pushing. Yeah. We allowed ourselves, 4 hours to make kickoff, and now we're going to probably sit down at kickoff. We're pushing. So we're all trying to get there, and we get there and we get settled in. Well, of course, the boys have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I mean, right out of the gate.
Well, they've been in the car for 3 hours.
Right, and so now we split up to go to the bathroom, which is packed with people and packed with drunks. And this was not a Auburn, Alabama thing. This was just drunks who don't have any sense. And I'm going to tell you this. I really can, because I understand being young and dumb. It's no fun, but I can tolerate college kids acting like idiots because you think, well, you're young and dumb. But what I couldn't stomach were grown men. I'm talking about some of them grandfather age that could be so stupid and so inappropriate and so sickening. That's what they were. We get into the bathroom, and they all start cussing like they just got off a ship. And one of them, one dad is next to me. He's got a son younger than my two. They're 9 and 11. There's boys in the bathroom, okay, little boys. And they're just, I'm not talking about language that you go, well, that's something that your uncle might say. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking about language that was so nasty. It was absolute filth. And it got to the level that I just said, that this is not going to go on anymore. And I just got everybody's attention. I said, hey, guys, I just want you to know I'm done with your language and the way you're talking. You're not going to speak this way in front of my children. And another guy was standing there with his kid, and they all turned around. Then one guy says, well, man, you go out situations like this, they're going to be exposed to stuff like this. Now, these are not college kids. These are grown men. Or they by their age, they weren't acting like grown men. And I said, well, see, that's where you're wrong. There'll be things they'll get exposed to when they go out on their own that I won't be there. But as long as I'm standing with them And I, as their father, am with them. They don't have to be exposed to this, and they're not going to be. So we're recapping the weekend, and that was a big part of it was the going to the game that was held in Alabama, the Alabama-Auburn game. So we were there. It's just going horrifying, and Alabama's just showing what I've been saying all year they can do. I still believe they're just missing on some cylinders. They're one of the best teams in the country. Their defense was phenomenal in the first half, and their offense not too shabby either. So we're sitting there and we're thinking, all right, this thing we're thinking about even leaving the game. It's raining, it's cold, and you're just not enjoying yourself when you're the team on the road getting hammered. So our son plays on the punt team and he's an up back. So we're watching it and we're sitting in the end zone so we can see the full thing of the play developing. So Marquise Mays is this incredible athlete that plays for the University of Alabama, and he receives the punts. So he catches a punt. Now, at the time, we don't realize that a penalty happened almost immediately. We didn't know that. And I can see from the end zone that Alabama has set the wall, and Marquise Mays is about to ramble for, it seemed like the 80 touchdowns they almost scored in the first half. And we look, and out on an island all by himself is number 63, the very large backup offensive center up back facing Marquise Mays.
Scat back.
And all of a sudden, from the depths of what must have been her soul, my wife in her adorable navy blue toboggan hat screams from the gut, "Get it, blood!" And it just goes echoing all through Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I was like, what did you – and so we're like, oh, lineman versus scatback, lineman versus scatback.
Here it comes up.
So he just starts trying to stalk him, and luckily slows him down enough. And then as he stiff arms Blake on the head, and Blake lays out, his momentum runs out of bounds. So
somebody got a great picture of that.
Yeah, we got a good. Yeah, those of you that took pictures at the game, you've sent me some of them, and I'd love to have those. And one of the moments. So anyway, that we were laughing about that, and he said it was even funnier in the team meeting when the special teams coaches were going, "Hey guys, we got up backs that are to block, and we got speedy guys that are to cover the kick, and guys, we got walled off, and we left our big up back out there all alone." And he was like, good job getting him out of bounds. Blake said, "I just did whatever I could do to try to slow him down," and that was there. There's the picture there. So anyway, we the game turns around and Auburn comes back in a miraculous fashion and wins the game. So the game is over. And the thing you got to know, which was really emotional about this, is, growing up, my oldest son had always wanted to play for Alabama. I mean, that was who he was for when he was a little boy, and that's who he liked. And my wife, was Alabama too. And so and his stepdad was, really big Alabama guy. So when the game was over, you immediately start trying to find your kid. And I see him, and he's got this weird look on. We're just watching him, and he went over and celebrated with the team, with the crowd. And then I see him just walking out on the field and looking up, and he's just taking in that stadium, and he's looking around. And at one point, he even goes to his knees, and he's just kind of sitting there, thanking God. And I asked him after it was over. I said, "Well, what was that all about?" He said, "Well, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be in that stadium." And he said, to sit here and to be on I was on Auburn's team, but still we were there, and that we had won in that stadium. He said, at one point it went almost surreal, like I was playing NCAA college football, and I'd been in the digital version of this stadium, and I looked around. He said, almost like it acted like it wasn't real, then it'd be real. And he said, I just didn't want to. I wasn't going to take for granted, who knows what's going to happen in the rest of my career. But for this moment, I wouldn't. I wanted to take it in. He said, but it was almost hard to even take it in.